to our series, Projector Power Hour. If you're new here, we do this series every couple of weeks where you get to submit your business questions to us and I answer them in real time for you. I love this series because as a projector in human design, I love answering questions on the fly, on the spot. I have no idea what Brandy has prepared or what you guys have submitted. She's going to ask me them in real time. And I think that on a lot of things related to building a business and a life that you're obsessed with, I have a unique perspective. So let's see what you got today.
Okay, I'm so excited. The questions that you all submitted were extra juicy this week. So the first question, if you had to pick one person that has influenced your life the most, who would it be and why?
Only one. I would say Kyle. I would say my husband. I would say that he absolutely has seen probably every version of me and has loved me through every version of me. And the girl that he met when I was 22, uncertain of myself, unsure of myself, lacking confidence, lacking clarity on what I, was going to do, lacking clarity on who I was. Like, he fell in love with the most uncertain version of me because he saw the potential in me and he called me to that potential. He raised the standard for a lot of things. Like, once I met him and found him, my standard for a lot of things in my life shifted because I saw how good life could be with having somebody like him by my side. He also very much so does not care what people think of him. And I cared a lot when I met him. And so he just showed me a different way of being unapologetically yourself and just a different way of having fun. We were talking about it earlier. Like, if I didn't have Kyle, I would probably work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and never really optimize for anything else. Maybe a 2-week vacation to Europe with some champagne and shopping and then come back and clock in. But he is definitely somebody who reminds me to have more fun, to enjoy the process, to enjoy the journey. And I just think, he's like the most important person in my life, but also had the biggest impact. I'm completely different in today's present time than I was before I met him.
Mm-hmm. That's so sweet. Everyone is now going to ask how they can find themselves a Kyle, but I'll let you guys drop that below.
Yeah, ask that if you want to know. There's some tips and tricks.
But that just makes me think a lot of the friends that you choose and the people that are in your circle, I kind of find that trait, they bring a lot of fun out in you because I think that you are so business focused. Callan, and that episode is going to be a really good one. You guys should watch it if you haven't. Callan is one that I think is very serious, but she still has so much fun with you, and just a lot of your friends. I feel like they make such an impact in bringing that fun and those different sides that we don't see every single day.
I think the problem that people don't realize is that, like, building businesses is fun to me. So, like, that's what I want to optimize time to do. I want to optimize time to, like, strategize and think and, like, get to the next level and come up with a new concept, a new idea. And so I'm having fun when I do that. It just doesn't look fun to other people, but it's fun to me. And so I think maybe fun outside of work is what other people bring out of me, but I love working, so it's fun to me.
Facts, you do. They just jetted off on their golf cart, and that is fun for them.
Yes.
And this is fun for you.
And this is fun for me. Yes, exactly. That's why I think of it all the time. Like, it's so crazy the perspective Jet is going to have, because Kyle and I could not be further from each other, like, in terms of, like, our personalities in general. Like, I was joking earlier about his time management, how he, like, showered before a workout and then did a workout and then showered after. And I was like, why'd you waste time showering before the workout? And he's like, because I like to be clean, Steph. And I'm like, okay, I like to maximize every minute of my day. And that feels like a waste of 15 minutes, but sure, whatever, babe. Like, go ahead. Jet is just, I don't know what's going to happen to him. He's getting, like, complete polar opposite parents, but hopefully it'll make for a well-rounded child.
Yeah, it's definitely the yin and yang.
Yeah.
So he's going to get the best of you guys. But I wonder, how does it feel? What goes through their brains when they wake up and they're like, yeah, I'm just going to take 3 showers today? Because I'm the same as you. I wake up and immediately I'm counting all of the things that are going on in the day, and I know the whole schedule.
Pre-focusing on what needs to be handled first in chronological order for the biggest leverage of the day.
Yep.
That's why we are the superior species. Truly.
Okay, and my first question submitted by our girl Gigi. Okay, she asked, If you sold your practice and started over in a new location and had a good profit to start with, how would you utilize that money?
I think of extra cash flow every month in two ways. Is this active cash flow that I generated, or is this passive cash flow that I generated? And so I want to make sure that I'm generating cash flow in both buckets. So passively, it could be things like real estate, investments, high yield savings, things like that, that the money is just growing and I'm not really having to touch it. I want to build that passive bucket when I have extra cash flow from the active bucket, so that in the future, not all of my income has to come from active income. That being said, when I was just starting my practice, I also was making sure that I had proper coverage, like covered on all fronts, liability, insurance, all of that. I made sure that I had life insurance. I made sure that I had 3 months of personal expenses, 3 months of business expenses saved up, so that I had this buffer, because that's really what made me feel confident. And then once all of those points were crossed, I kept that money in a high yield savings account so that it could grow. Even like my tax savings, when you're setting aside money for taxes, put it in a high yield savings so that it's at least compounding. And then I would pour majority of it back into the business. Because like, let's say you just started, you're profiting 10, 15K a month. Majority of that would go into developing myself, paying a mentor, investing back in myself, investing back in high quality team members, getting really cool people on the bus, so that that would continue to grow while I'm taking off pieces of it and throwing it in the passive income bucket.
And so when you decided to finally put money into passive income, how long did that take?
Well, I probably didn't do it soon enough, if I'm being honest. I made good money before I really started thinking about long-term investing. However, it really is about your goals and about your risk tolerance, I would say, because I have a very high risk tolerance, and I know, again, that I'm the ROI. That's a belief that I have, that like I'm always going to be able to generate more money. So this is actually fascinating. I have a couple of friends, Zach and Liz, who are like so strategic and so calculated with every dollar that they make, and it's very impressive. I wish I could be like them. I will never be like them, because I love life too much. I love blowing money on experiences and like once in a lifetime opportunities, but I'm not scared of making more. And I think that's the difference between my risk tolerance and other people's risk tolerance. Like, say I drop 15, 20K on something, I'm just going to go out and figure out how to make 20K more, 50K more. It's going to inspire me to go and make 100K more. And so I don't have this belief that the amount of money I have right now is going to be the only money I have. So I'm also not scared to spend it into myself, into my team, into my businesses, into life experiences, because I know I'm just going to make more of it. I think that's why my mindset is different than other people's. So because of that mindset, though, I didn't start investing into like retirement. I still don't really invest into retirement. I invest into like actual investments. It's not like a ton of retirement accounts. You don't have to agree with that. You can definitely disagree with that. But again, like I think investing back into my business in this season of my life, when I have nothing but opportunity and potential in front of me, is the right move for long term.
And could you, just going off of that, what is the worst investment that you ever made?
Worst investment? I mean, there's been a few where it was like not good returns. I mean, like every investment that I've made, even if it didn't work out, I don't view it as like the worst investment ever. Like I don't lose sleep over it, because again, I just went out and made more money. But there's been plenty of investments that I've done into real estate, into like online businesses where people are like, oh, you could just have an e-commerce store. That's a lie. I had no idea what I was doing. I shouldn't have wasted money on that. There's been a lot of investments. I mean, I can think of a handful that haven't worked out, but it was lessons learned, pretty cheap lessons to learn, in my opinion, rather than investing millions of dollars into something and having it not work out. I feel like the money I did invest taught me what it was supposed to.
And I think the biggest lesson is like, don't sit in it. Like,
Yeah.
if there's not a financial investment, like on the back end, it's the lesson learned, and it was so early on.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I'd rather learn a $10,000, $100,000 lesson than $1 million lesson.
Facts. Okay. All right. So another question from Gigi. She is asking, what is the best SOP that you've created inside of your clinics?
The entire SOP of how it makes money without me was good. But I would say that a couple things off the top of my mind that I feel like truly gave me freedom when I was building was like, I had a rule that my office manager could spend make any decision that she needed to that was under $500, like an expense. And so if you think of how many times your team comes to you asking for things, hey, can I do this? Can I do this? Oh, we need face paper. We need new markers, new pens, like whatever it is.
Yep.
It's like, how about you just make every decision you need to? And if it's over $500, it's a bigger purchase. I'll sign off on that. That freed up so much mental capacity for both of us instead of having to talk about the little things. Granted, I trusted her. She was in charge of the budget. Like she proved herself time and time again. So that one freed me up mentally. Another SOP is just like having systems set in place for monthly recurring revenue. I think that gives business owners so much freedom, but a lot of them don't want to do it because they're scared to ask for people to pay them monthly. Another thing I would say is a project management software so that you can see what your team members are working on. So we love ClickUp at The Wealthy Practitioner, but any software like that, Monday, Asana, Notion, whatever you're using, just so that you can keep a tab and a pulse on your business when you're not there. And then actually I would say our stat tracker that we have, like that I can sign in from anywhere in the world, no matter where I'm at, and look at how the business performed yesterday, how it performed this week, even if I'm removed from it, has been life-changing.
Oh, yes. And so you can join us inside the mastermind and learn
If you want those SOPs, join us in the mastermind. Yeah.
And learn how to use AI in creating them. Something you just brought up was decision fatigue, and that kind of pushed the need for SOPs. Can you talk about what is decision fatigue? Because I think a lot of business owners have no idea, and how do you combat it?
Decision fatigue is simply like being tired of making decisions over and over. And so my number one thing when I feel myself getting fatigued is I don't have the systems in place where my team can answer these questions without me, or we don't have the right team in place because they're not executing on the systems, or we don't have the right team in place because they're not able to think strategically in the way that I would. And so that's even been at The Wealthy Practitioner, trying to get all the team to think like Stephanie so that I don't have to make every decision has been a big initiative that we've taken under. You know, I would say you and Nikki, like on the leadership team, have been able to, you've had exposure to me the longest that you can think in terms that I would most of the time, not all the time, but like a good portion of the time. That's important. So then that comes back to your training and then the systems you have in place to execute on that. When I'm in a period of where I feel like I'm having to make too many decisions in the business, too many decisions with like clients or patients, too many decisions at home, I just know that I'm under supported. So that is either I need to hire more people or I don't have the right people. And so I have to dive into that.
And so my next question is from Mackenzie. This one is probably my favorite question. She says, Steph says, inside our mastermind, business problems are actually personal problems showing up on the business. I feel that. How do I hone in on what the problem actually is and solve it and move on to the next?
So I think this kind of comes back to being brutally honest with yourself and asking yourself, where are you holding up the standards that you have for yourself? So things I think of immediately is like your calendar, your time management. How are you leading yourself? Are you sticking to your appointments? Are you sticking to your calendar? Are you following a schedule? Are you on time for things? Are you forgetting things? Like, how can you just get structure in place personally that's going to allow you to be your best self? How much time are you spent working on yourself? Like, when people don't know how they're being held back personally, that often I ask them, like, how often are you spending working on yourself? Because that could be your mindset, that could be your physique, that could be trauma that you've encountered in your life. It could be a number of things. But like, unless you're spending time actively working on that, you're probably not going to get to the center of what's actually holding you back. I know for me, for instance, when I was in practice, one of the big things that I dealt with was like being a people pleaser. I was scared to upset my patients. I was scared to upset family. I was scared to upset friends. And that held me back so much that it caused me to blur the lines with people in my practice. So, oh, you can't make your payment? No problem. Oh, you're 20 minutes late to your appointment? No problem. Oh, my team is going to call out last minute? No problem. Because I was such a people pleaser, that's how personally it showed up in the business. It made everything in business so much harder because I was scared of having these hard conversations that aren't even that hard. They're normal conversations, but they're direct. And it made me uncomfortable, so I just avoided them for a while until I had honestly achieved so much growth that it was inevitable. I had to start having those conversations because too many things were falling apart to my lack of boundaries or my lack of standards. And so that's just one instance that I think of, but get quiet with yourself. Ask yourself, what do I know about myself? What is true? Like, where do I feel uncomfortable? I think that's a good signal. being uncomfortable when you think of scenarios, that's probably an aspect of you that you need to heal. If something triggers you, that's an aspect, if Steph's saying something on Instagram that's triggering you, or on the podcast or on YouTube that's triggering you, it's like, okay, why? Especially if it's about money. Why is it triggering you? That's something that you need to heal inside of yourself. There's probably an underlying feeling of not enoughness, scarcity, lack of self-worth that needs to be fixed. But the only way that you figure out personally what's holding you back, and then as a byproduct holding back the business, is by getting quiet enough to dive into yourself.
And to hear that voice.
Yeah.
And it's like personal development is business development. And it's so crazy to me to imagine like you being a people pleaser, like imagining those, like you avoiding conversation because you were so direct. And I love the directness. I know the entire team does, right? Like, because you have those, people can pick up on that energy of like frustration inside, right? Like if you're not verbally saying it, your body language is, right? Like we're going to pick up on those things. And so it's insane to me.
Well, I think of our new VP of Ops that we hired, and she's been on the team now for 2 weeks, and she's been an amazing ad for us. But like she told me after day 2 is like, you have an incredible team. Like I didn't know when I interviewed that this was the caliber of the team that you've cultivated, because obviously we're having internal scaling scenarios that we're trying to work through that we've never been here before. I think my directness is what has built an incredible team of people that want to do a great job. I think our culture has created a scenario where people want to do a great job, which that reminds me also, we have a winning culture playbook that we can give you guys watching this. And so I'll drop it in the comments below, because I think when I look at how I've built teams, when I look at how I am as a leader, I think culture has been the whole thing, right? Creating this culture. People are always like, how do I get my team to do things? I don't feel that I have to get my team to do things. I just have to be the example, and then they mirror it. And so I think of that when I'm hiring. What aspects of these people do they have that remind me of myself? What aspects do they have where I'm lacking and I need that clarity to come in and like raise the whole vibration, raise the standard as a whole, know? So I think culture is huge on that, but that comes from very direct communication. It also invites people in to have direct communication with us and with me as the leader. And I think it's truly something special that I've been able to create that not everybody can.
I think that Chrissy just validating that was like, I feel like we knew, but sometimes hearing outside, like especially,
and we have such high standards. We have such high standards for everybody.
People crumble with our standards. Crumble.
And with ourselves. Like we have such high standards that at any given time I could find something wrong if I was looking for it, Yeah. And it's just to have that outside perspective and have somebody be like, these are incredible people that you've selected to build with you and like go to the moon with you. And it's like, that was definitely so validating. Like, I know. And we've been getting our butts kicked. Imagine when we're not getting our butts kicked.
It's over.
Yeah.
All right. The last question I have for you is anonymous, protecting these people with the juiciest questions. So,
that's good to know too. So they could submit a question that they have to say their name, but if they want to be left anonymous, we'll let them.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So if you know money mindset, poverty complex is a big thing holding you back, what do you need to do to work through that? Is it a therapist visit, or what do you do?
No, it's a Stephanie Wigner visit. You need to pay Stephanie Wigner to fix your mindset right up. But here's the thing. This is not hating on talk therapy, because we have clients inside the mastermind that are building incredible mental health therapy clinics. And I love that. If the people aren't willing to do work outside of that talk therapy on themselves, I don't know if a money mindset issue could be solved with talk therapy. A money mindset issue technically usually comes back to like environment. It comes back to your beliefs of what you think you're worthy of. It comes back to your programming. Now, talk therapy might be beneficial in the fact of like, let's talk about your childhood. Let's figure out where some of this is coming from, and let's heal that, and let's work through that. But I think truthfully, moving from like the planet of poverty to the bubble of abundance, where we print money for breakfast, where we have a ton of fun, where we know that abundance is constantly surrounding us, it's consistent work. It's daily work on your mindset. People I don't think always understand like where I came from and the stories that were in my head about money, because they see where I'm at today. But like, it's been 10, 12 years of consistent work and effort on my money mindset every single day. And it didn't happen in a one instance thing. It didn't happen with one mentor. It didn't happen with one podcast, one book. It was like obsessive, consistent effort on becoming this abundant thinking person, because I think that's been the thing that can unlock the most for somebody is their mindset. And so because I believe that, because I know that, I work on it every single day.
I think where you differentiate, because I'm like, until you are in our circle or you come to a mini challenge or come and join the mastermind, I think it's hard for them, or an event, it's hard for them to understand the differences. And so when I think about therapy, because your girl has done a lot, got a lot of trauma there. It was, you talk so much. And I think for like a really traumatic event, for sure, you need to unpack. But you just keep talking and talking and talking about the things. So it keeps you in that planet of poverty. But where I think that you help the most is you are like, okay, let's live life. When you get triggered, that's the invitation. And then let's figure out, hey, where's that coming from?
Well, and it's taking action about it. Like we can't just talk about it. Like I can't just talk about the scarcity that I felt. I have to understand, where did it come from? Where was the original story that was built inside of me of this underlying feeling of scarcity or lack or not enoughness? And then it was like, okay, now that I know that, what am I going to do about it? And what actions am I going to take towards rewriting that story? I don't think necessarily that happens all the time inside of therapy. It's like, let's talk about it, and then let's talk about it some more. And then what comes up now? It's like, we tell our clients, like, you're not going to get anything accomplished without insane action towards the thing. And so I think figuring out where it comes from is step one, but then step two is like actively rewriting that story. And I think that's where I truly am like one of one in that category.
And it's not easy. It's a mental gym every single day.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Cool. If you guys have questions for us, fill out the link below, grab our winning culture, let us know what you want us to chat about on this, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Bye.